Hey guys, wow, it's been quite a month for me in the month of February. So I know I haven't been on in a while or really talked about anything, but ultimately I had sinus surgery, I think the 31st of January. And this was actually my second surgery. So originally I 2 years ago, I had sinus surgery related. I had a balloon, what you call balloon sinuplasty. They put a little thing in your nose and it blow it up to kind of clear out your sinuses. Um, 2 years later, end up getting a lot of sinus infections again. And I guess I'm someone that suffers what you would call chronic sinus infections. Used to get it probably every other month, sometimes even sooner. So decided to get it checked out. Looks like the surgery that I had from 2 years ago kind of wore off, I guess, or kind of reverted back to what I originally had. So went to a different doctor this time and I did a different method. Couldn't tell you what exactly I did, but uh, pretty promising. Anyway, so after the surgery, I think for a week, just had this numbing pain. Obviously, they went in there and some stuff was done, and for the first week it was just kind of recovery period. So just like constant numbing pain. Really wasn't able to do a lot. After the first week, I woke up with a sinus infection. The one thing that I was getting surgery for in order to prevent a sinus infection. And I was having all this sinus congestion. Now, generally when you have a sinus infection, congestion, whatever, you blow your nose and try to, get whatever you can out of there. Now, I just had surgery, so couldn't really blow my nose or anything, or didn't want to further damage inside. So just had this so much pressure in my face. Had to go back to the doctor and just get it all out, manually, about me how to blow my nose. And then, of course, I was given antibiotics again. So as someone that has chronic sinus infections, I think I'm on antibiotics pretty regularly. I think as a kid, when you're on antibiotics, you're on it for like 5, 6 days. I've been going from 5, 6 days to 10, 14, 2 weeks. And I think the last time I was actually on antibiotics, I was on it for a month, penicillin based, augmentin. And so I think the doctor this time, I've never known to have any allergic reactions to any type of medicine that I know of, which is what I put down. So I think the doctor, knowing that, I've been, as someone that's been on antibiotics so often, he gave me a different type of antibiotic, I think like a sulfate base. And as I was getting through with the antibiotics, it's like a delayed allergic reaction, and just I had red spots all over my body and just kind of freaked me out. I didn't know what it was. And then I, did my kind of self-diagnosing. I had the first day. The second day, it was actually worse. Ran to an urgent care and I had to get some steroids and actually got a shot in my butt, which I thought was unusual. I think the nurse was coming in and is like, we're going to give you this shot. I was going to give him my arm, and then he actually gave me my butt, which I can't remember the last time I actually had a shot in my butt. And I don't know the scientific reason or medical reason why you get shots in your arms versus your butt, but hadn't had a shot in my butt in like 30 years or something. Anyways, that was kind of what's been going on for the past month. Like I said, I had surgery like 31st of January, and finally last week, towards the middle of last week, started feeling a little bit better. Starting to actually feel normal for the first day, and then went to cook off on Thursday. So there was that, and then didn't feel great after that. But this week, this is like the first Monday starting off in a week where I'm like, wow, I finally feel completely normal. But one of the things I want to talk about was kind of where your focus goes. And I kind of told you that story because there's obviously I'm kind of leading into it, but at the same time though, before I actually got surgery, I think briefly I said I work out twice a week. I have a personal trainer, and part of my working out is that I do get stretched a good amount. I'm someone that getting up there in age, you could say, closer to 40 than I am 30 at this point. And I've never been a very flexible person, you could say. Never been able to touch my toes. Ever since I was a kid, I've never been able to touch my toes. And as you get older, strength is nice, but flexibility is obviously very important. I think even more important than strength. I've always prided myself on someone that's pretty strong. I'm certainly not a small person, I don't think. Um, but I'm a pretty strong person. So I didn't really care about working out anymore. I'm not here to try to get a beach bod or anything by any means. So I work out to really kind of maintain my health. And, one of my biggest health concerns ever since, I haven't been able to touch my toes is that, I really want to be more flexible. I don't want to be hunched over as I get older, have to use a cane or something like that. So flexibility is a big thing. So my personal trainer actually stretches me out as part of my workout. And let's just say I get stretched out like really strong. Like he pushes it. And one of the things so as I was getting stretched out, I mean, it was hurting really bad. And I just constantly kept on thinking, wow, this hurts really bad. And as I was pushing it, as he was trying to stretch me out further, I kept on thinking how much this hurt. And then in that moment, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I thinking about how bad it hurts? So one of the things I've learned, recently or more recently, I guess you could say, is that, where your focus goes, energy flows. So if the whole time when I'm hurting, and if I'm going to think and lay there and think like, oh my God, how bad it hurts, it's going to hurt more. So I kind of broke into like a little meditating moment. And I really just envisioned on how far or how flexible I wanted to be rather than focus on how bad it was hurting at the moment. And as I did that, I went further without really experiencing any additional pain at all. I mean, it's been proven that like, whatever you focus on, your energy is going to flow. Like, I think a common example that I've been given a lot is that, if you're making a sharp turn on a car, and a lot of people, if there's a wall there, people tend to focus on the wall and then end up slamming into the wall. But if you were actually making a sharp turn and was just focusing on the turn, not saying that you won't hit the wall, but at least you have a better chance of not hitting the wall and making the turn. So what I did in this very moment was that, like, instead of just focusing on how much it hurt and how much more it would hurt, the further I went, I focused on my goals, like where I wanted to go, how flexible I wanted to be, and just kind of really calm myself. And then I got a lot further. Now, I think some of the other examples I've always used was like, if you're frustrated or mad at something, right? And instead of thinking about what's good about the situation, and you're just focused on what made you so mad or so angry or so frustrated, guess what? You're probably going to be more angry, more mad, more frustrated. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you just want to be more mad, then you'll be more mad. So what I'm trying to say is that you should focus on what your actual goals are instead of focusing on the bad things around it. It's like one of the things, like if you own your own business, like one of the best things you could do is like, if you have a problem, instead of focusing on the problem and being why someone did this or someone did that or why this happened, you just identify the problem and then you move towards finding the solution to the problem. And then your problem will actually go away sooner rather than later. But if you keep focusing on the problem, guess what? And not doing anything else, then your problem is still going to be there. Now, I say all that, right? So I was going into surgery that day, and I found out some bad news. One of my friends that I actually went to college with, this lady, I actually sat in the back with her in one of my graduate classes for accounting, or it's actually commercial law. But anyway, so she's my age. And one of the things that, in life recently, that's like, as I get older in age, there's certain people that are passing. It's unfortunate that, people are passing and just kind of freaks me out. It gives me a little bit of anxiety. Or, people have coming with cancer. I think I just had a friend, I found out that, he had cancer, and I, really hope, he makes through it. But anyway, so my friend that was in college, I used to back in the class with, I saw on Facebook that, people posting, prayers her way and stuff like that. So I asked one of our mutual friends, I was like, what happened? And her husband had just recently passed, from something that's kind of threw me off. I, I mean, something that I had before, but I didn't pass from it. Don't really want to put it out there, but essentially kind of, so this was like 3 or 4 days before my surgery. And I find out this news that, my friend's husband's passed. Obviously I didn't know her husband too well, but I actually just saw them a month ago at Club Westside. And, I was just talking, they actually have, a couple kids. And I was talking to them. So, I saw them very recently. And so her husband passed, and I was going to surgery, and I really had just really bad anxiety. Um, and then just kind of thinking about it, and it just kind of got worked up in a certain way that the moment they put the IV in me, I like passed out. I mean, didn't mean to, but just had, I guess, bad anxiety to the point that I just like passed out for a second. Then I didn't even know where I was when I came back out from passing out. But so I guess my point is that even though I'm telling you that, like, hey, you should always focus on, what you need to do and stuff. There are moments that, sometimes you can't control it. And just overall, I think a lot of things, I think between science fiction and stuff like that, just kind of give me bad anxiety. So I'm trying to find ways to kind of calm myself down a little bit. I'm not a person that likes to take a lot of medication. I think I've been on enough medication. So one of the things I've been doing was try to do a little bit more meditation. Also, which is kind of focusing, you're focusing on what's good. But the point was that, even though I'm saying this, like, no one's really perfect, right? Even though it worked great for me in that moment where I'm getting stretched, that like, hey, I just decided, instead of focusing on the pain, I decided to focus on where I wanted to go, where I want to be, and it just worked out a lot better. But in the other situation where, just really had bad anxiety, where, I had IVs get stuck into me and then just knocked out and passed out for a second, and then woke up and didn't even know where I was anymore. So that was kind of my story, was that, where focus goes, energy flows. If you're going to focus on all the bad things, guess what? The bad things are going to be there. But if you focus on the issue, the solution, solving the problem, then you're going to be able to solve your issues and problems sooner rather than later. Hope that was helpful for anybody watching. Hope to talk to you guys soon again, as I get back on track and kind of get back to normal as part of my normal routines and stuff. You guys have a good one.